Tonio Knows Boxing. What's going on? It's your boy Tonio back here today. And finally, I'm going to cover the Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda fight. Now, if you guys don't know, this fight happened July 12th. It would be 2 weeks ago now from when this is getting uploaded. Originally, I had a video. I recorded it immediately after the fight, and it was going to be uploaded July 14th. But I didn't like what I was saying in the fight, and I felt like I was going in a different direction than actually talking about the fight in specific, in which I'll save what I had to say for another video that I'm going to work on for you guys. But ultimately, I said I was going to wait for the July 19th slate of fights, Pacquiao Barrios, Usyk Dubois, and Bam Kafu. And that's what I did. I put those videos out, and then we're going to double back and go to Shakur Stevenson's video. So this video might not get a lot of views because I don't know how hot this topic is right now, but it's whatever. I wanted to make this video because this ultimately is my favorite boxer in the world. Now, I've watched this fight countless times. I think I've watched it like 6 times already. And every time I watch it, I'm so impressed by Shakur Stevenson's skills every time I watch him fight. Every time you watch him fight, right? And then, it's a layoff. And then he comes back. You're like, man, Shakur is really, really good. Like, as soon as the bell starts and he goes to the center of the ring, you can see the IQ already, the skill set. And if you just watch his feet the whole fight, you don't even have to watch the punches being thrown. You just watch the feet. You get the understanding of how good Shakur Stevenson really is. And William Zepeda was a challenge for Shakur Stevenson, right? This was his toughest fight since Oscar Valdez, which was at 130. And William Zepeda is no slouch. William Zepeda throws over 1,000 punches around, doesn't stop punching, beat Tevin Farmer twice. Like, he's the real deal. Volume puncher, 27 knockouts. Not the biggest puncher, but with volume stops guys. And so with Shakur Stevenson's hand problems, we thought that William Zepeda may be able to pose a threat to Shakur Stevenson and maybe even get an upset victory. Now, I never thought that in the slightest. I thought Shakur Stevenson was going to win, but I wanted to see how he was going to win. There was a lot of talk about Tom and Jerry with the Turkey Al-Sheikh saying he doesn't like Tom and Jerry fights after watching Haney Ramirez and Harlem Eubank versus Jack Catterall. And it felt like it was going towards Shakur Stevenson, saying, is Shakur going to run from Zepeda's his volume, and is he going to be on his bike, all this. And you could see it was kind of getting to Shakur, like, you didn't know how he was going to come out and fight. If you know Shakur Stevenson, if you watch Shakur Stevenson isn't a runner by any means necessary. If you go watch Shakur versus Jamel Herring, or versus Oscar Valdez, or versus Artem Harutyunyan, or Josh Padley, or any Shakur Stevenson fight against Robson Conceição, Shakur Stevenson doesn't run. He's usually in the middle of the ring, at mid-range, in the pocket with you. The only fight where he steered away from that, and he was in the pocket at times, he would just drift too far back when he got out of range, is against Edwin De Los Santos, and ultimately he had a hand injury. So I want you guys to go in there and try to fight one-handed versus ultra aggressive southpaw power puncher that's quick and athletic. You go try to do that. But anyway, Shakur Stevenson from the opening bell, I was worried about his hands, especially against Zepeda, because Zepeda has a hard head. So if you punching at it, it's gonna be, you might crack your knuckle on his head, especially with Shakur's hands. And Shakur was throwing punches right out the gate, landing like big shots. Left hand, he was throwing the left. The left hand is the really hurt hand. The right hand is surgically repaired, is good, but the left hand is the one that was causing him problems against Josh Padley. And he was throwing punches and pushing Zepeda back. I was like, oh snap! This first round, Shakur really dominated. But then you get to the second and third round, in which ultimately some people thought William Zepeda won. Zepeda's getting Shakur in the corner, and Shakur's in this Philly shell, right? And if you listen to the commentary and watch the fight, you would think William Zepeda was dominating Shakur Stevenson, right? Like, dominating Shakur Stevenson. But that just ultimately wasn't the case. Shakur Stevenson was barely getting hit on those ropes. And William Zepeda was throwing a million shots at Shakur Stevenson and still couldn't land on Shakur Stevenson. I mean, he would land a jab here or touch him every now and then, but they weren't clean shots. Shakur Stevenson, you guys, a lot have been talking about him not letting his hands go, especially recently. If you want to see Shakur Stevenson let his hands go, he showed you that. Shakur Stevenson was crazy throwing his hands. He landed 295 punches, guys. That is insane. Against Hartunian, he landed about 170. Against Valdez, he landed 189. Against Zepeda, he landed almost 300 punches. That is insane. Guys. Against a volume pressure fighter. And guys, let me tell you the CompuBox numbers, because this is where it really gets crazy. Shakur Stevenson landed at 52% to William Zepeda's 27%. That is nuts. Shakur Stevenson landed 46% of his jabs to Zepeda's 24%, and 55% of his power punches to Zepeda's 30%. That is insane accuracy. Which is why, if you listen to the commentary and you listen to the judges, listen to Antonio Tarver and Mike Coppinger, you would think Zepeda was in the fight, but it wasn't close. It really wasn't close. And Shakur landed 30 more punches than Zepeda, and Zepeda threw 500 more punches than Shakur Stevenson. That is insane. That is insane. That just doesn't happen in the sport of boxing. Shakur Stevenson's defense is the best we've seen since Floyd Mayweather and Pernell Whitaker, and it's not close. He's in those conversations with the Willie Peps, the Pernell Whitakers, the James Tonys, the Floyd Mayweathers for best defensive boxer of all time, because he just did that to a volume puncher and was landing combinations. I mean, it was beautiful all night on the ropes with his Philly shell, the level change jabs, the 4-piece combinations. Like, that's vintage Shakur. Like, that was Shakur versus Herring, Shakur versus Conceição right there. That was Shakur Stevenson. That is, and that's the thing. It wasn't even at his best, because one, he did hurt his hand in camp for this fight. He hurt his hands in camp and still came out there and landed 300 punches. And guys, I want to tell you something. I don't think we're gonna see the best of Shakur Stevenson in a long time, for a little minute, because I don't think there's a guy that can challenge Shakur that's willing to fight Shakur at this current time. You know, Gervonta Tank Davis has got legal actions going on. So apparently Andy Cruz is gonna fight Raymond Murtaya. Lamont Roach is looking at the Gary Antoine Russells of the world. So who does that leave for Shakur Stevenson? But ultimately, he is going to take some time off. But there's not a guy that can challenge Shakur Stevenson right now, because to beat Shakur Stevenson, the volume puncher was the way to go. That was the way to beat Shakur Stevenson that a lot of people thought. You got to throw a lot of punches. You got to make it dirty, interesting. But Shakur, I mean, his skill set, his adaptability, his IQ, I think he has, I'm not going to say the best IQ in boxing, but I could go that far and say he has the best IQ in boxing. The way he's able to adapt in the ring and feel comfortable everywhere is insane. And I want to say this, skill-wise, I think you can make an argument that Shakur Stevenson is the most skilled boxer in boxing. I think, personally, I have a list of 5. I have Bam Rodriguez, Shakur Stevenson, Dimitri Bivol, Terrence Crawford, Naoya Inoue. That's my 5 most skilled. And Usyk, there's a tie. But I think those are the most skilled boxers. I'm not talking about accomplishments. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm just talking about pure skill level. And I think Shakur Stevenson could be at the top of that list. He just has to get those big fights to show people that what he can do. But the way he dominated William Zepeda was impressive. I mean, even Oscar De La Hoya had to admit that it was impressive. Eddie Hearn was in awe. It was a beautiful masterclass performance, especially because they talked, you know, the whole fight. You know, he wasn't even the main event. He was the co-main, but he got most of the attention, most of the, you know, backlash, saying the Tom and Jerry stuff. And he came out and showed, bro, I can fight. I can box. I can fight. Like, whatever you want to do, we can do it. And the thing is, he didn't even have to fight like that. He fought like that for the fans. If he would have fought, more using his legs, it wouldn't even have been close. It would have been a shutout 12-0. Initially, I had it 10-2 when I scored it. I gave Zepeda the second and third round, I believe. But then when I scored it again, I gave Zepeda 3 rounds. I gave him the third, fourth, and eighth. So a lot of people were saying the scorecards were a little wide. 119, 109, I think that's a little wide. But even then, not really, because the rounds Zepeda won weren't really definitive. 118, 110, I see that. 117, 111 is how I scored it the second time. But if you really want to be that guy, 116, 112 is cool too. But 115, 113 is a little upset. That's a bad scorecard. But if you guys didn't like this performance from Shakur Stevenson, ultimately I think it's just a hatred in your heart that you have for Shakur, because this was beautiful, man. This is what people wanted to see. They wanted to see Shakur get hit. And that's the thing, right? If Shakur doesn't get hit, they say it's boring. They say it's Tom and Jerry. They say this. But when Shakur gets hit for you guys and stands in the fire and throws back, you say, oh, Shakur got hit too much. So it's like, ultimately, what do you want him to do? What I say is, Shakur, just fight your fight however you want to fight your fight. And the fans are going to watch regardless, because you're one of the best boxers in the world. So, yeah, this was an amazing performance by Shakur Stevenson. I'm extremely happy that he was able to put on this performance and have no major hand problems that happened during the fight. And ultimately, he's ranked number 1 right now for lightweight, and he's on the pound for pound list at number 10. I have him a little higher, but he's on the pound for pound list. He's number 1 lightweight over Gervonta Tank Davis. Controversial to some people, but I've been saying for years that Shakur was the best lightweight, and I think it's proven now. He's got the best win at lightweight under his belt, and as Tank doesn't have a top 10 lightweight victory, but Shakur Stevenson does. So yeah, the best lightweight in America, or not even America, in the world, a top 10 boxer in the world. Even Mike Tyson was giving him congrats on the fight. So Shakur, the sky is the limit. He's 28. He'll be 29 next year. And he's entering that prime, man. We're going to get to see the best Shakur if those guys want to get in the ring with him. If not, then, we're just going to see the same old Shakur, which is one of the best boxers in the world. But yeah, you guys let me know how you felt about the performance down below in the comment section. Did you think Shakur put on a good performance? Did he get hit too much for you? Were you entertained? If you were a Shakur hater, are you a fan now? And who do you want to see next for Shakur Stevenson? Until then, Tonio Knows Boxing, we out.